Hey, tonight you're watching Senior Living. I'm Doug Thaker. Thanks a lot for being here. By golly, because we've got some really important things to tell you, and you really need to know them. This doesn't necessarily mean seniors only, but it certainly can be. I can assure you of that, because I are one. All right. So, we're from Ashland, Ohio, right?
Yes.
And we're talking about the ENT group, and we're talking about ears, nose, and throat. And I've got two audiologists with us. How about that? Two experts in the arena of hearing, as well as nose and throat and what have you. And all of that moves together, doesn't it? Does it connect?
In a way. That's more of Dr. Stein, who also does the nose and throat part of things.
Okay.
So we concentrate on the ear and how you're hearing.
Tell me about your firm. Tell me about your company. Both of you are audiologists, right? Okay. And how long have you been doing this?
I have been at Dr. Stein's practice for almost 6 years.
Whoa, okay.
I've been there for 9. Dr. Stein has been in business for 20 years.
Okay. And the location is where?
On Mifflin and 42.
All right.
It now has a new sign. It says University Hospital. It used to say Samaritan Professional Park.
Okay. So, in essence, your doctor is part of University Hospital. Though.
Actually, he is not part of University Hospital.
Okay. Sorry,
he is
doctor.
still on his own.
Okay.
But he's affiliated with the hospital.
Okay. And so, obviously, both of you are trained and experts in audiology.
Yes.
And you're working with patients every day? All right. Obviously, I want to say obviously, that's really not a way to put it, but as we age, and again, as I told you, I are one, and I affiliate and associate with men my age, and women as well, but men primarily. And yeah, there's no question about it. They're losing their hearing, right?
Generally, aging does have a part in the process of hearing loss, but there are a lot of other factors as well. One of the main ones that we see tends to be noise exposure. We have a lot of hunters, farmers, factory workers in our area, and before hearing protection was mandated, a lot of people did not use hearing protection, and their hearing has been affected by that noise. Have you had a hearing test?
You know, I have not. And I'm with a VA. I won't give you my life story. And I was waiting to get into the VA, but boy, they're backed up way back. And
they really are.
Yeah,
it's hard to get in there.
When I call them, I'm talking about in the Mansfield area. In order to get there, there's a mobile lab that comes.
Right.
Yes.
And if you don't use the mobile lab, then you got to go to Wade Park in Cleveland, and et cetera, and all of that. And when I call them, they were like 4 or 5 months behind or booked up.
Yeah.
Right. That van that only comes once every 7 weeks because they handle seven different locations.
Yeah.
So it is hard to get in there. A lot of people just end up coming to our office because they don't want to deal with, if they have a problem, or they're going to have to wait for 7 weeks to have the problem taken care of.
Yeah, well, again, there are times when I think I'm having problems, and I probably am.
In any case, you should have a baseline hearing test.
Okay, now tell me what that is.
It's a hearing test when you aren't having any problems, and the importance of that is if your hearing were ever to change, we would have something to compare that to. So it's important really for everyone to have a baseline hearing test.
Okay, whether you have hearing issues or not, right?
Right. Anyone over 55. We have a wellness program, and we offer those baseline hearing tests at no charge.
Okay, tell me about the wellness program.
So the wellness program is for anybody that's 55 and older to come into our office. Yep, that's you. Come into our office and just get that baseline hearing screening that Pam's talking about, so that we just, we have a picture of where your hearing is today, and for future reference of how it's changed.
And this is non-invasive?
Nope. Nope, we'll do otoscopy, where we look in your ears to see, if you have any wax in there or something obstructing the ear canal. If you do, we'll have that removed. Otherwise, that acts as an earplug, and it'll skew the hearing test. So we want to make sure that we take all of that out of the equation.
Yeah, I understand. Now, is wax common?
Yes, everybody has wax.
Okay. So it's not unusual for somebody to come in and they're plugged up, so to speak.
Not terribly uncommon, yes.
Okay.
The biggest culprit of that happening is people that wear earplugs will tend to have a wax buildup, but also using Q-tips. You're
Okay.
going to get some of the wax out, but a lot of times people end up just pushing it further down into the ear canal where it can't work its way out.
Okay, what about the old cliche I heard when I was a kid, don't put anything bigger than your elbow in your ear. Is that still prevalent?
Smaller.
Smaller, I mean.
Don't
yeah.
put anything smaller in.
Okay.
Yep. Yes.
Sorry,
Yep.
I'm going the wrong way with that.
Well, there is another problem associated with Q-tip use, and that is that it dries out the ear canal. And there is supposed to be some wax in there that's nature's lubrication for your ear canal. And if you use a Q-tip, it tends to leave the canal more open for problems. And a lot of people experience itchiness. And when they're itchy, what do? Grab a Q-tip. And
Yeah.
that's just really compounding the problem.
Okay, now, how about the nose? Does that affect the ears?
It can to some
Or do
degree.
the ears affect the nose, or?
Well, you have your eustachian tube that connects from the nasal passage to the middle ear. So there's various things that can happen with the nose, allergies being something that can inflame the eustachian tube.
Mm-hmm.
And if that happens, it can sometimes affect the middle ear and overall how you're hearing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now if we're talking about the nose being damaged, what are we talking about there?
It's not that it's damaged, it's just that the air passage in the eustachian tube can't happen as it naturally would if that eustachian tube gets inflamed.
Okay.
It swells shut, so the pressure from the outside world and your middle ear is not equalizing.
Okay, I got another question, but I'm going to hold it because we need to take a commercial break.
Okay.
Okay, we're talking again, the ladies from Ashland, audiologists, and we're talking about Ashland ENT, ears, nose, and throat. We're coming back with a lot more right after this. Once again, you need to know this stuff. Hey, welcome back to Senior Living. Once again, we're talking to the ladies. Both of these women are audiologists, and we have Ashley Gibson with us, and she is that, and Pam Oliver's with us. Both professionals have been with the Ashland ENT for both a number of years, which is interesting, and that experience counts very, very, very much. Okay. Now, question is, can that hearing loss be prevented? What should people be doing other than not going to rock music? Or am I prejudiced?
You can go to rock music.
Okay.
Wear earplugs.
Oh. Okay.
And don't sit next to the speaker.
Yeah.
I tell a lot of people to wear earplugs that go to concerts because overall it's going to help your ears to not have that noise damage, and you're still going to hear the concert just fine because they are so loud.
Okay, now, how do I know? How do I know that I'm having problems?
If you find yourself saying huh or what or pardon often, or if your family members suspect that you may have a hearing loss, a lot of times it's the family members who drag people into our office against their will to have a hearing check. The family members are the ones who actually will notice that their loved one is missing things. If you can't hear certain things, you're not going to know if you're missing them. But the family member with better hearing is going to notice that you're not picking things up like you used to, and you should probably go in and have your hearing checked.
Okay, what if I told you that often my wife says to me, have you got a hearing problem?
You should come in and have it checked. There's no charge to do it, and it's...
She's not picking on me then.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of times people will answer a question inappropriately or incorrectly because what they heard is not what was said. You may flip a few letters around or fill in the blanks because you didn't hear it normally. So that happens a lot of times. Or a lot of times people will just start to isolate themselves and not partake in the conversation because they don't want to answer inappropriately.
Well, I must confess to you, I belong to an organization, and there's no question about it. It's a group of men, by the way. I'll tell you that part of it. But often I hear, "What did he say?" It's kind of the topic of conversation during the whole half hour of the meeting as to what did he say.
Yeah.
Now, you know, help me. One of the things that they talk about, and I must admit, I hear every once in a while too, and I don't know how often, is that there's kind of like when you go into a place and there's background noise. People are talking back here. Now, you're not part of the conversation, but it's confusing to hear what you're having to say across the restaurant table from me when there's all this noise going on in the background.
So a lot of the hearing loss that we see occurs in the higher pitches, and that's where the very soft consonant sounds occur that give distinction to words, and those really get lost in background noise. So it's going to sound even more like people are mumbling or not speaking clearly. That's a really difficult listening situation for a lot of people.
Okay, you know, I don't want to get technical with you, but you know, one of the things I find that this is going to sound like a criticism, but people do not enunciate.
So it could be your hearing loss that's causing you to feel like people are not enunciating.
Okay.
If you're missing out on those high-pitched, soft sounds, those really do give distinction to words. And if you're not getting those, if your hearing loss is filtering those sounds out, it's going to sound to you like people are mumbling, even though they're not.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. All right. Let me go back to the prevention piece. All right. What should people be doing? I mean, I was joking about the fact don't go to a rock concert, but aside from that.
Yeah. At times like that, it's merely, you know, be smart and protect your hearing. So even when you're mowing the lawn, if we still have to break out the snow blowers these days, you know, wear earmuffs. The type of hearing loss that we see a lot of, though, is just due to the aging process. And that's not something that you can, you know, fight, or it's just going to happen. We all age differently, and some people do better than others. Yeah. So some people's hearing loss are going to be better than others at a certain age. But overall, that's not anything that you can fight on your own.
Now, one thing that should be mentioned, though, is there are different types of hearing loss. There are sensory neural hearing loss, where the hair cells down in the inner ear are damaged from noise or aging. That can't be reversed. But there are other types of hearing loss that can occur, and some of those can be medically or surgically improved or treated. So it's important to come in and find out what type of hearing loss you have, whether it's a non-treatable sensory neural hearing loss or a treatable conductive hearing loss.
Okay, I'm inundated, frankly, from television with hearing devices and all of these people who are selling or attempting to sell hearing devices all over the city, the town, the country. Now, is that technology continually changing? The devices?
Yes, they're always trying to improve the computer chip, that, you know, technology that's on the inside. The outside appearance of it may not change much across the years. It has changed drastically within the last, you know, 5-10 years of hearing, but they're always improving. You know, it's just like a car. They're always coming out with a new model with some improvement to it, some safety feature. So the hearing aid companies know that background noise is a difficult listening environment for people that have hearing loss. So they're always trying to work on making that easier and better for people.
Right. Some of the things that have really improved in the last several years is the elimination of feedback or that whistling noise when something gets near a hearing aid. They do not whistle anymore, which is really nice for the patients and their families. But a lot of research goes into hearing aids, like Ashley said. One thing is important to note, that you kind of get what you pay for with hearing aids. Yes, you can order an online hearing aid for $600 or $50 or something, what happens when that device malfunctions? Do you have to go put out another $600? Some of those devices are analog. There is no digital technology, and that's kind of taken us back to the old whistly, days when also background noise would have been a huge problem, because those devices amplify everything. And background noise and all, where the newer digital hearing aids will filter out. They have very sensitive computer chips, environmental detection systems, so if you go in a noisy restaurant, it's actually going to tone down some of that restaurant noise for you.
Yeah. Once again, you're watching Senior Living. We're coming back with lots of information and education you need to know. Don't go away. Once again, we're talking to two professionals. They are audiologists. Once again, we're talking to Ashley Gibson as well as Pam Oliver, and they are both with Ashland ENT, and we're talking about hearing and hearing loss and damage and what causes it, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And obviously, we were talking before the break about devices.
Yes.
Right word?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And, talk to me for just a moment. I think one of the things that we, and I'm talking about the seniors, and again, I are one, as they say, is that you've become very sensitive about being taken. Maybe that's not a good word, but again, there's lots of advertisements. There's lots of people out there that seemingly are selling these devices. As you well know, they're very expensive. Mm-hmm. What should I look out for? What should my audience look out for?
Go ahead.
First of all, you probably, there are two different categories of people who deal with hearing aids. There are audiologists who go to school, they get a degree in hearing and hearing loss, and then there are hearing instrument specialists. They specialize in the sale of hearing instruments. So there are good hearing instrument specialists, there are good audiologists, and it's hard to know where to go. I would talk to your friends, and if you know anyone who's wearing hearing aids, get a sense of what they liked about the professional that they visited. Don't maybe pay so much attention to advertisement. Just because a place advertises a lot does not make them a good provider of hearing aids. Something has to pay for all that advertisement, and a lot of times that's the sale of hearing aids. So they can be very costly depending on where you go. I would check into a couple different places. If you were buying a car, would you go to just one lot and pick that car? Maybe do a little research before you make a decision.
Okay. Insurance cover these devices?
Some insurances do. Medicare does not. A lot of people have a secondary insurance, and we do have a person in our office who will check that insurance to see if they qualify. I do want to say that hearing loss is not something that affects just the older people in our society.
Sure.
We actually have a student right now who's 25 years old who wears 2 hearing aids. She was diagnosed when she was 5 years old, and it's been really nice having her there. It's a good reminder to people that this isn't something that just happens to older people. Mm-hmm. So I have a gentleman who's a supervisor in a plant, and he's in his 40s, and he came in with a very significant hearing loss and had never worn hearing devices, and he was fit, and he's just so happy at work and at home. His wife is also very happy.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Okay, give me, I call the doctor's office that you work for. What's going to happen to me?
Well, they're going to just take some information from you, name, address, phone number, to add you into our system. But from there, they'll get you scheduled for an appointment with either Pam or myself. When you come in for that, we'll ask you some questions about your hearing health, your past history. And as I was saying before, we'll do that otoscopy where we look in your ear canal and see if we need to have any wax removed. From there, we'll do the hearing test and get that baseline With that, it is merely listening to a series of beeps and pushing the button for us when you hear them,
Okay.
as well as some word testing, more or less to see how each ear is with understanding words. Gives us an idea of how well you'll do with hearing aids in the future.
Okay. Once again, we're talking to two audiologists. We're going to continue to talk to them. All we need is you to come back. How about it?
You better chop.
Okay, we're back with our audiologist. Okay, I'm running out of time, but the point of it is, again, as you said off camera, there is a stigma about an instrument in my ear.
Yeah, people are very conscientious or conscious of, not having anyone see the device in their ear. And there are many different types and styles of devices. There are some that are just virtually invisible, and we would show you those when you come into our office.
Where is your office?
Mifflin and 42.
Okay, and the doctor's name is?
Dr. Andrew Stein.
Okay, and call for an appointment?
Call for
Yes.
an appointment, yep.
You happen to know the number off the top of your head?
It is. It is 419-289-8919.
Okay, I call for an appointment. I'm going to come in and I'm going to meet with either one of you, right?
Yep.
Okay, and the first thing you're going to do is go through a series of questions for me, and
Yes.
from there you are going to test me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And then once we get the results, we'll go over them with you. And if we feel that you are somebody that would benefit from hearing aids, we'll get some program just so you can kind of
Okay.
test drive them in the office and see what your options are.
Thank you very much for being on Senior Living. We really appreciate it. I'm Doug Thaker. You've been watching Senior Living. We're coming back next week for another great show. That's the thing about this program. We constantly are providing you with information and education that you need to know, just like you heard tonight and saw. I'm coming back. How about you right here on WMFD? Thank you for being with us. And, hey, yeah, good night.